The Democratic Alliance has introduced what it calls a landmark constitutional amendment. This is aimed at preventing impeached judges and impeached heads of Chapter 9 institutions from becoming public representatives in South Africa. We have Busisiwe Mqwebane and John Maytham as examples of the absence of this legislation. And the DA Justice spokesperson, Glynnis Breytenbach, joins us now. Glynnis, good afternoon.
Hi, John. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. Yourself?
I'm good, thanks.
We haven't had many constitutional amendments since the Constitution came into being, have we, Glynnis?
Actually, we've had more than you think. We've had 21.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The most recent one being adding South African Sign Language to the
yes.
official languages.
Remember that, yeah.
Yeah.
Look, this one, I think it's entirely wrong that John Maytham and Busisiwe Mqwebane should have taken up a seat in the House, in the Assembly, but they were allowed to because the law didn't deny it. How much do you look? I doubt that the EFF and the MKP would support this, but from the other parties, particularly the ANC, because I think between the DA and the ANC, no, mind you, constitutional amendments require more than a simple majority. So, what are the likelihood of this getting through?
Well, I think the piece of legislation is a strong piece of legislation. I also think it's essential. So, having said that, you're quite right. There are parties who probably, would be naturally inclined to not support it. But this is a good time to introduce it. It's election time, not only now, but 2029 creeps closer. And the parties that don't support it will have to explain to their electorate why they think it's okay in a climate where people in South Africa have highs of, below par performances by public representatives and sick and tired of large-scale corruption and the effects that it has on their lives. They would have to be the party that explains to their supporters why they think it's okay for people who've been impeached. So they're found to be completely lacking in integrity, good character, and all those other essential requirements one would hope to be a public representative. And they'll have to explain why they think it's okay for somebody lacking those qualities should represent them in Parliament.
Does this have to happen through a constitutional development? Could there not be a rule of Parliament which might be easier to and quicker to get through the system?
No, a rule of Parliament wouldn't have sufficient clout, and Parliament can't make a rule that could exclude somebody from being a member of Parliament when the Constitution allowed it.
Okay. So the constitutional amendment is the only way, other than parties not putting forward people who have been impeached, people who in other ways, although this wouldn't be covered by the constitutional amendment, have shown themselves not to be fit and proper folk to sit in Parliament.
Right.
Right.
Having learned from that bitter experience, gave birth to this constitutional amendment.
And if there is buy-in, parliamentary processes don't happen terribly quickly, and you said we have an election coming up, local government election on the 4th of November. It would seem impossible for this to happen before that. But
certainly not, but it will be in time for the 2029 election. And
what needs to happen next? At what point can you say, you know what, I think this has a prayer of getting through?
Well, it's a draft. It has to go through a number of steps. It has to be vetted and improved upon by a whole range of processes. But it's been introduced, so parties will discuss it. It will be published for public participation. And of course, if people indicate in the public participation that they agree with the concept and they may have more improvements to make, which will be gratefully looked at, then that would be very persuasive to politicians to support it if they know that their electorate it's something their electorate would like to see. Then it has to be sent to one of the committees, probably the Justice Committee, to debate it and to pull it apart, put it back together again, and then it goes to the National Assembly for a vote. So that can take upwards of, this whole process can take upwards of sort of 2 years. So there's urgency in it. We need to get going to get it in place before 2029.
Thank you very much to Glynnis Breytenbach, the DA spokesperson on justice and constitutional development. I would like such a law to be in place because I do think it is completely unacceptable that an impeached judge and an impeached public protector could have taken up a seat in Parliament. That's just plain wrong.